Now to our major story of today. The 2018 budget has been passed into law, that is clear, but there are issues raised. These issues are important because the performance of the document is attached to the issues raised. Here are a few things you need to know about the 2018 budget. This passage is the longest the country has ever had since 1999. It was presented to the National Assembly on November the 7th, 2017. It was passed by the lawmakers on 16th of May 2018. Yesterday, the appropriation bill was signed into law by the president. The earlier one he presented was a total of 8.612. And 9.12 trillion is what eventually was passed by the National Assembly. The crude oil benchmark price of the budget was also increased from $45 per barrel to $50 per barrel. Let's get some other insights. Yesterday on the program, we got perspectives from the National Assembly and also from government. There's been controversies and the debate of whether or not the National Assembly has the power to impute and create projects into the budget. Well, let's get some other perspectives on the technical details of what has been signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. Joining us from South Africa is a lead partner and the co-founder of Budgets, Mr. Onigbinde. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. It is perhaps one budget that has drawn attention and concern from across sectors. Finance across the sector in the land. A lot of people thinking, why on earth has this budget been delayed? This is perhaps the longest we've seen since almost 20 years. What are your thoughts about the delay and the impact on the Nigerian economy?
Okay, thank you, Lucia Shawaki. One thing that is clear is that Nigerian budget has become an object of politics. We can recall, and if you look at the trend, every preceding year to the election, the project has suffered the longest delay. In 2015 election, it happened in 2014, and now we're back to the same cycle, 2018, and I'm sure something like this can happen again in 2019. And the reason why is that there are equal blames on both sides. The executive they did not present the budget earlier enough, because the budget was presented on November 7, 2017, relatively early, but not earlier as it should be. And also the National Assembly also made a call, a rallying call, that some members of the executive cabinet did not show up for the budget defense. In fact, it's on record that certain ministries defended their budget in April 2018. And so there's been equal blames to go around on both sides. You can recall that even President Muhammadu Buhari had to compel members of his own executive to show up for defense of the budget. So things that could have been just professional obligation, he had to be morally enforced on them to appear. And I think the blame goes around when it comes to the budget across board. The executive made a strong call that they want the budget fiscal year to start from January to December. Now we have breached this again, and we have now.
Sean, let me pause it for a moment because we need to take this break. But when we come back, Sean Onigbinde will be telling us about those technical details, the concern of President Muhammadu Buhari, some of the input and some of the additions made by the National Assembly. The supplementary budget will also come. Those are some of the details that he will be telling us when we return. Stay with us, everyone.
Notwithstanding the delay this year, I am determined to continue to work with the National Assembly towards improving the budgeting process and restoring our country to the January-December fiscal cycle. I note with pleasure that the National Assembly is working on the enactment of an organic budget law so as to improve the efficiency and the nation's budgetary process. I am concerned about some of the changes that the National Assembly has made to the budget proposals that I presented. The logic behind the constitutional direction that budgets should be proposed by the executive is that it is the executive that knows and defines the policies and projects.
The makers of the Constitution never envisaged that when a budget or a proposal is laid before the National Assembly, we should return it the way the President or the Executive brought it. If that is the case, there will be no point bringing it to the National Assembly. But the makers of this Constitution knows that there must be a second opinion, because there are elected representatives of the people. So for us to tinker with the budget is part of our duty. I am elected like any other 360 members of the House of Reps and 109 senators. We represent constituencies. We know the issues on ground. So when we are working on this budget, you need to work to ensure that every part of this country has fair share of the commonwealth of the nation. The budget of the National Assembly used to be 150 billion. And when we came in, 30 billion was cut off. It was 120 billion. In 2016, this same administration cut 5 billion. It was 115 billion. Nobody said anything about the cuts. And in 2017, it was 125 billion. 10 billion was added. Even today, it's 14 billion. It's true. It's 139 billion. It's still not up to 150 billion. And the legislative procedure is something that needs funds. We need funds also to operate.